My restart account in Kingdom 2293 has an insanely hype KvK, where as an A kingdom, we're going to battle against the Imperium 1875, and also Shinchi is in the mix. So stick around in this video for the hype around this KvK. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and if you've been to my channel before, you can hear my voice is a little bit different. That's because I'm sick, which is a bummer. But if you're new here, remember that there are always timestamps in the description, so you can jump to whichever portion of this video you're most interested in. Now, the weirdness around my being sick, by the way, is not only awkward for making today's video, but also my wife is super pregnant. She's going to have our second child literally any day now, and I have like not slept for the last 2 days, which is going to be really tragic if the baby comes like tomorrow and I'm still ultra sleep deprived. GG. So anyways, let's talk about this KvK and why it's so hype. Now remember, I am in Kingdom 2293 and we are in red. Now this is the Eve of the Crusade, by the way. And I don't think this is very representative of how the kingdoms will actually perform in KvK. So to really understand who are all the players in this KvK, we need to go look at the power and the kill points associated with each of these war camps to get a real understanding of why this KvK is going to be so insanely fun to play and so insanely fun to watch. By the way, consider subscribing if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on the hype from this KvK. This chart is the most concise summary of data that I have seen. It's from rockboard.com, and it makes it very easy to understand what is going to happen in this KvK and why it's going to be really interesting to watch. Now remember, we are playing a King of the Nile KvK, which means there are 2 A kingdoms on each side, or an imperium, and there are 2 B kingdoms on each side, and those B kingdoms will be in a war camp together. So it's 3 war camps versus 3 war camps. I am in red in 2293. The kingdom that I was talking about being really hype is 1875. They are imperium. They are in blue. And also Shinchi is here in 2581. That is one of the B kingdoms in blue. So let's get a zoom in on these stats, because I know they're definitely hard to see zoomed out, and you'll start to really understand why this KvK looks so damn hype. So let's zoom in on the B kingdoms here. In fact, let's go with the markup option here. Yeah, there we go. Now we can actually draw on the diagram. Let's get a look at the B kingdoms. Remember, Shinchi is over here in 2581. And the thing that's really interesting is that our B kingdoms have more power. However, the blue team, that's the 1875 B kingdoms, have more kill points. So as long as our B kingdoms actually kill off their troops, that could be a good sign. But I generally tend to lean toward KP as the stronger indicator of punch in a KvK than your power. Because at the end of the day, KP is a signal of how much you field fight. The more you field fight, the more likely you take field and thus can rally successfully. So I think it's pretty advantaged to be the kingdom that fights more. And it looks like these B kingdoms have historically put up a good fight in the blue camp. That is the 1875 camp. Now I'm hyped for our allies. And I make no mistake, I think this is going to be a really fun matchup. Because if we start to look also at the A kingdoms, things get really interesting. On the left-hand side of this diagram, remember, I am in 2293. And if you look at the power, there's something sort of funky going on. I'll draw in yellow here. Look how low the power is for 2467. I think this is a one alliance kingdom. So the power is high for 1875. They're imperium at 26 billion power, or 26.8 billion power, almost 27 bill. They are looking really thick, but we have 23 billion power, kingdoms, I should say. So this is imperium power, by the way. Imperium power is your top 300. And if you look at the KP, however, look at this number from 1875. I mean, that is a kingdom that throws down. They've got more than double both of the A kingdoms. So this is why it's going to be an interesting KvK. And now we can look all the way on the right, and you can see why this summary and this particular diagram is so damn helpful. Because you can see that my war camp in red is the winner on power by about 5 billion. But we are the loser by kill points by about 500 million. And I think KP is generally a very strong indicator of how the field is going to feel. A kingdom or a group of kingdoms that have more KP probably will end up owning more of the field. The funny thing in this particular instance is that even if the opposing kingdoms in blue do own the field more, we have more troops to kill by about 5 billion power, which is not a small number. Now, we'll see how these numbers change as we get closer to the fighting, but I think this is going to be a really, really hype KvK. And there's another reason, by the way, this is going to be a hype KvK to watch. You see, my kingdom, 2293, has a history of taking on imperium kingdoms when we are not imperium and winning. We fought 1235 and won. We fought 1306 and won. We fought 2386 and won. And those were imperiums, and we were not and are not an imperium ourselves. Now, I don't know if this is really a fair representation, because here's the real truth of the takedowns of these other big imperium kingdoms, which is that we didn't do it alone. It's all off the strength of our allies. And so, yes, we punch hard, but also the reason, in part, is that we had really strong allies to help us get the W. So it's particularly interesting now to reflect on that data and to say, hey, there's another kingdom that we're allied with that has similar KP and power to us. And so can the two of us really, the coalition, take on 1875 and their allies? Man, I don't know, but it's going to be so freaking hyped to play and watch. So now that we've actually reviewed all that data, we can look in-game and start to really figure out what the heck is going on. And let's start by looking at that one kingdom where I said, man, they have only a 16 billion power alliance, and it looks like they're a one alliance kingdom. Now, keying into, by the way, the Eve of the Crusade so far, the other A kingdom in our war camp is in number 1. 1875 is in number 2 for Eve of the Crusade. We are currently in number 5. But remember, I'll keep saying this, Eve of the Crusade's a very poor representation of what's going to happen in KvK. Our kingdom, historically, always says to push your AP in KvK, not in Eve of the Crusade, because pushing your action points in KvK gives you crystals. And while the speed-ups and things that you get in Eve of the Crusade are good, the thing you really need once you have a T5 account is crystals in KvK. But let's go get a look at 2467 and the other big kingdoms in this KvK to kind of understand what we're looking at here. So if I zoom all the way out, we hit the globe, we go to 2467, and here, by the way, is the full map for our King of the Nile KvK. We want to check out 2467 because this to me is like really curious. Are they a one alliance kingdom that's an A kingdom, but only 17 billion imperium power? I just don't think I've ever seen a kingdom like that before. So it's really interesting. Here's the alliance holding the temple. It's a 9.7 billion power alliance. So this to me does not look like a one alliance kingdom after all. And if we look over here, they've basically got a 10 bill, and a 5.5 bill. Wait, maybe they are a one alliance kingdom, and that one alliance kingdom is not even 10 billion? Hello? I mean, this is just such an interesting KvK matchup, because 1875 needs to basically handle multiple kingdoms, whereas we need to be able to gang up and try to tackle 1875. It's very interesting. Okay. Wow, that's kind of surprising. As a refresher for those of you that are in want to know what my kingdom looks like, we go to the rankings, alliance power. We have an 11.6, a 10.3, an 8.6, and a 7.3. And it is interesting to look at like smaller alliances because remember, this is a much younger kingdom than my main account. I mean, you would look at a 7 billion power alliance and you'd think, that's pretty big for a farm alliance. in a really old kingdom. But remember, 2293, it's old, but not that old. So this is a full alliance, 151 players. I don't think there are farms in here, but not everybody's got T5 yet. And that's just like, yeah, people are still growing their accounts, right? So it's just going to be a really interesting KvK in terms of like the number of people that are on the field and the power level that 1875 is bringing. If we zoom back out, let's go check out 1875. That is an imperium kingdom that is honestly ranked pretty highly in the imperium ranks now. So it's like, I want to say top 10 by imperium power. And if we go get a look here, look, we look at the temple. This is a 13.5 billion power alliance. Okay, really strong. And they have a bunch of kill points. We look over here, touching the temple. Viper Squad, eager to fight us. 12 billion power alliance. Okay. And then over here, what's this? This is a 12 billion power alliance. Okay. Is there another one? Maybe. What's this? This is a 7.7 billion power alliance. Now, I don't know if that's a farm alliance or if that's some younger accounts that are just kind of growing in a sort of older kingdom. But it's going to be a really interesting KvK. I mean, the 1875 squad will probably represent the sort of mighty, and the 2293 and allies will represent the many. That's my guess. But remember, the B Kingdom allies of 1875 over here have more kill points than our B Kingdom allies. So it's just going to be a really freaking hype KvK. And if I'm not mistaken, the very first fight that's going to happen based on the map setup is probably going to be my kingdom versus Shinchi's kingdom and the double Bs. So this is going to be a really fun KvK to watch. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as a reminder, I will be live streaming later tonight when the new events land in game. I can show you in the event calendar that all of the holiday events are going to show up this evening. Some folks may not have noticed this yet. Bada boom. So I'm going to try to stream this evening because the Spenders event's going to show up. I'm going to try to show you that. By the way, those of you who are wondering when the Zenith is going to be on Monday. So this is coming very, very soon. I mean, imminently. And kind of a bummer that it's just outside of the range of the power-up event for our KvK. So stage 2 of our Eve of the Crusade is going to be Saturday and Sunday. Those are the 2 training days. Zenith is literally a day later, so you can't double dip on training for Eve and also training for Zenith, which I don't think I'm going to go for. But if you want to see that Spenders event for armaments that I was talking about, I'll have a card in the end screen. And if you want to see the commercial that Shinchi and I did for Rise of Kingdoms with the Pawn Stars, that'll be in the end screen as well. And if you have not seen that, honestly, it's kind of a must watch.